Kash Patel, the guy that Trump handpicked to lead the FBI, got verbally curb-stomped by the Senate, and all he had to do was show up and do his job. Instead, he showed up with, well, nothing. No budget, no timeline, and not even a Wikipedia-level understanding of the Constitution.
When should we expect this FY25 spend plan for the FBI? Have you seen it? Have you reviewed it? When will we get it?
I'll get you an answer, ma'am. I don't have a timeline on that.
It was due last week by law.
I understand.
And your answer is you just understand. You're not going to follow the law?
My answer is that I am following the law, and I'm working with my interagency partners to do this and get you the budget that you are required to have.
And you have no timeline?
No.
So let's set the scene. This was a Senate Appropriations Committee hearing, the FBI's big annual checkup. The entire purpose of this hearing was to discuss the FBI's budget. And Kash Patel rolled in like a college freshman walking into a final exam that he didn't know was happening.
Have you reviewed it? Have you approved it?
Not yet.
When will we get it?
As soon as I can get it from my interagency partners and get it approved.
6 months from now?
I don't know, ma'am. I'm not going to make up a timeline.
Well, how do we as Congress do our budget and our work without that request and without the spend plan?
Well, ma'am, I'm here. I'm doing the best I can. I can't make up answers. I'm going to commit to you to work on getting you the information you need.
That is insufficient and deeply disturbing.
Well, there you go. That's it. That's the man in charge of the FBI. This isn't law and order. This has somehow become just vibes and chaos.
We're now having a budget hearing without a budget request.
Translation, you had one job and somehow you managed to flunk it harder than Trump's cognitive test.
And by the way, I took my cognitive exam as part of my physical exam, and I got the highest mark, and one of the doctors said, "Sir, I've never seen anybody get that kind of, that was the highest mark."
Right.
Honestly, watching this hearing was like watching a slow-motion car crash where the driver insists that everything is fine while the car is literally on fire. But the embarrassment didn't stop there. When Senator Jeff Merkley asked about immigrants being deported without due process, Kash Patel, the director of the f***ing FBI, said he didn't know if they were constitutionally entitled to it.
You haven't read the Constitution? It says all persons.
I've got it right here, but what you're saying is that every single one of the illegals that was sent down to El Salvador is supposed to be given due process pursuant.
Yeah, that's what the Constitution says. It says no person.
It doesn't say that.
It does say no person. Yeah, I'll encourage you to read it because it's also been affirmed by the Supreme Court repeatedly.
Okay, so we've confirmed that he reads the Constitution, but what we haven't confirmed is whether he understands it.
No, he does not.
Because the actual Supreme Court has ruled multiple times that yes, due process applies to everyone on U.S. soil, citizen or not. It's called the 5th and 14th Amendments, not exactly buried in the fine print. I mean, this is like saying I read the Harry Potter books every day and I have no idea who Dumbledore is. But Merkley wasn't letting this go. He asked if the FBI would investigate other agencies breaking the law. Patel said yes, then immediately said no.
So if an agency other than the FBI violates the law and the Constitution, you will not investigate because it's a different agency?
I will investigate every violation of law.
Well, but you just said you're not investigating.
No.
Kash Patel is arguing with himself out loud in front of the United States Senate. But just in case you thought Kash Patel was the only one who skipped Civics 101, here's Trump getting asked whether he, as president, has to uphold the Constitution.
Your Secretary of State says everyone who's here, citizens and non-citizens, deserve due process. Do you agree, Mr. President?
I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know.
Don't you need to uphold the Constitution of the United States as president?
I don't know. I have to respond by saying again, I have brilliant lawyers that work for me, and they are going to obviously follow what the Supreme Court said.
I don't know. That is what Trump literally just said to Kristen Welker. That is not a normal thing for a president to say, and if it isn't already apparent, this is a huge red flag. When I started my show, What Was That? It felt like I was navigating everything solo, writing scripts, setting up, planning filming schedules, designing assets. It was incredibly overwhelming, and each day brought new decisions that demanded immediate answers. When you're starting off with something new, it seems like your to-do list keeps growing every day with new tasks, and that list can easily begin to overrun your life. Finding the right tool that not only helps you out, but simplifies everything can be such a game changer. And for millions of businesses, that tool is Shopify. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the US. From household names to brands like MeidasTouch. Get started with your own design studio. With hundreds of ready-to-use templates, Shopify helps you build a beautiful online store to match your brand style. Accelerate your content creation. Shopify is packed with helpful AI tools that write product descriptions, page headlines, and even enhance your product photography. Get the word out like you have a marketing team behind you. Easily create email and social media campaigns wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. And best yet, Shopify is your commerce expert with world-class expertise in everything from managing inventory to international shipping to processing returns and beyond. If you're ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify. Turn your big business idea into with Shopify on your side. Sign up today for your $1 per month trial and start selling today at shopify.com/Gabe. Go to shopify.com/Gabe. Shopify.com/Gabe. Now, if you're thinking, well, maybe Kash just had an off day, think again. Kash Patel has been skipping key responsibilities since day one.
Widespread concern within the FBI that Kash Patel is just simply not taking the FBI director job as seriously as he should be. I spoke to more than 15 current and former FBI and Justice Department officials for this story, and among the things that I learned was that Patel's 8:30 a.m. intelligence briefing was reduced from 5 days a week to 2 days a week because he had trouble showing up on time. And when he does attend, I was told, his briefers are finding it hard to hold his attention. Meanwhile, he's been traveling around the country on FBI jets, including to Las Vegas, where he has a home, and to Nashville, where his country singer girlfriend lives. And he's also been spotted at pro hockey games and ultimate fighting fights, hobnobbing with celebrities.
I just want people to understand the seriousness of the situation. He's skipping meetings, reducing briefings, can't hold his concentration, and then using the FBI's private jet like it's a Delta SkyMiles reward. He's doing everything he can instead of, running the FBI? But let's be real here. If a field agent missed a case file deadline, they'd be reprimanded. If a budget officer forgot to submit a request on time, they'd be let go. And if a janitor skipped work for 3 days to sit courtside at a Knicks game, they'd lose their key card. But Kash Patel? He skips work, lies to Congress, misstates constitutional law, and gets to keep flying around on taxpayer-funded jets. And let's not kid ourselves. Kash Patel didn't get this job because he's qualified. He got the job because he's loyal. Loyal to Trump. Loyal to the GOP grift, loyal to MAGA, loyal to keeping investigations away from anyone in the MAGA inner circle. Like the Epstein files and how Donald Trump is all over the call records, the flight logs, and other documents. But hey, Kash Patel and Pam Bondi are doing their job to make sure that no one gets to see those files. I mean, just listen to this back and forth that Patel had with Senator Kennedy about the Epstein files.
Did Jeffrey Epstein hang himself or did somebody kill him?
Senator, I believe he hung himself in a cell in the Metropolitan Detention Center.
Are you going to release all the information about that?
Senator, we are working through that right now with the Department of Justice.
When do you think you'll have it done, Kash?
I think in the near future, sir.
Like before I die?
Where are the files, Kash?
Well, we're waiting.
Seriously, this guy can't even do the one thing he promised if made FBI director, release the Epstein files. Instead, he's going to UFC fights and barely staying focused during meetings.
The two current FBI officials telling NBC News that Patel sometimes seemed uninterested in the material, and his intelligence briefers are struggling to craft a briefing that captures his attention. So sorry you're bored, FBI director, I guess. I mean, the FBI director's daily brief contains some of the most sensitive information in the world about the country and threats it's facing. But maybe Patel would prefer pictures or cliff notes or something else. I'm not sure. A PowerPoint? Other officials told NBC News that the reason for the scheduling change is because Patel kept showing up late. Maybe he's tired from all the trips he's taking.
And that is the Trump administration in a nutshell.
But Kash Patel is also not the only cabinet official who seems to be distracted from their job responsibilities. There's also the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, who seems more worried about his public profile than doing his actual job. I mean, according to a former Pentagon official, he spends a full 50% of his time trying to flesh out leakers from his own department. This is the guy who was supposed to be overseeing the largest military in the world, 50% of his time fleshing out leakers. And then there's the Homeland Security Secretary, Kristi Noem, who seems more interested in dressing up in costumes, I guess, than in actually doing her job. There's some of the examples there. I mean, why is she dressed up like a firefighter? I don't know the answer to that question. But here's the point. Governing is not a photo op. It's a complicated and hard and often quite literally life or death situation for the people who live in this country. And I don't know why members of this cabinet seem uninterested in doing their jobs or uninterested in leading the agencies that they were nominated and confirmed to lead. I don't know if the president is just pretending to not know how the Constitution works or if he really has no idea. But I do know that both are bad. And that's important to keep reminding ourselves that neither is normal.
But if we take a quick step back and look at this hearing, this isn't just embarrassing, it's dangerous. We now have an FBI director who shows up late to work every single day. He doesn't bring a budget to a budget hearing, he contradicts Supreme Court rulings with the confidence of an idiot, and he gets publicly humiliated by a mild-mannered senator from Washington who's probably never raised her voice in a Starbucks. And honestly, this might be funny if it weren't so goddamn terrifying, because this isn't just some idiot playing government cosplay. Kash Patel is in charge of the nation's domestic intelligence and law enforcement agency. He has power, real power, and no clue how to use it responsibly. This is what law and order looks like under Trump 2.0, so you better buckle up, because we're not headed for accountability, we're headed for chaos, corruption, and full-blown constitutional illiteracy. Thanks for watching. If you want to support my work on What Was That, the best way is by becoming a paid subscriber at whatwasthat.show. I'm fully independent, so your support really helps run this one-man show. You'll get exclusive episodes, deep dive breakdowns, and articles you won't find anywhere else. That's whatwasthat.show. Prefer to listen while you're on the go? What Was That is available on all major podcast platforms. Apple, Spotify, you name it. Until next time, I'm Gabe Sanchez, and this has been What Was That?